Hello, how are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. We're both having a very cozy, we've got a cozy blankety, what they called?
Hoodies,
Hoodies.
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 It's snuggly Sunday syndrome.
Yeah.
We're mixed it up, aren't we? And we normally record on a Monday, but
Yes.
today we're going for a Sunday because it's the day after something.
That we did. What did we do?
Yeah. Oh, we just climbed Snowdon.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
did.
did. We did. We hiked up Snowdon, didn't we, with a
Yes,
group of incredible women and a fantastic guide, Mr.
yes,
Dave Pickles.
we
And I
did.
think we're both just kind of sat here. We've obviously had a chat before we came on record and just feeling a little bit like, wow, did that really happen? Like, where do we start?
Where do we start? Where do we start?
Where do we
So,
start?
we were up early, weren't
Mm.
we? We all went on it. And do you know what? That's what I love about going on an adventure as well. Setting that alarm. And it's like, before you're going on holiday,
Yeah,
like that excitement of like doing something different. And it feels like, ooh. So yeah, we set those alarms early, didn't we? And we all headed off from different directions to Snowdon. And we met in that car park. And I just love the feel of being somewhere like that when other people are doing it as well. Like leaving the car park at what was it, 8:30 was
8:30
buzzing,
when we got
wasn't
there.
it?
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
people just like, yes, we're going on an adventure today. Like
yeah,
it was just high vibes from the beginning. And yeah, then we set off, didn't we?
we did. So a group of strangers. I know obviously some of us know each other, but
Yeah.
some of us had never met in person before, had only ever seen each other on screen. Some of
Yes.
us had never met before at all.
Yeah.
And then we just, yeah, set off as this group and spent the day together and came face to face with all sorts of different conditions and
I was going to say, I
twists and
think, guys,
turns.
we literally embraced every single element of weather that we possibly could have, didn't we? We had
Yeah.
literally beautiful, so we got a sunrise, which was amazing on the way
Mm,
as well, wasn't it? We had sun, then we had cloud, then we had mist, we had
yeah.
snow in places, ice in a lot of ice in
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the mist, then obviously we were up in the clouds, and yeah, we had all of the weathers. And then on the way down, we had full-blown rain pretty much,
Yeah.
wasn't it, by the time we
Yeah.
came down?
And then lack of visibility and then complete darkness.
Complete
Complete
darkness.
darkness.
So guys, we were walking for over 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were
It
just
was
saying before
a
we logged on that it was literally, I felt like in a bit of a time warp. And we obviously set off, probably by the time we got set off, it was probably about quarter past, 9:30, would you say?
Yeah, so it really is. I think we're probably just over 9 actually. We take out the
Yeah.
stops for, you know, snack and lunch and
Oh, yeah.
actually getting out of the car park. We were probably just over 9 hours walk. But what we set off with the intention to be a 6 hour walk. And I think we knew what path we were taking, but I don't think we really realised the challenge that the path was going to be. So it was the Watkin path that we did, which since Googling is one of the hardest routes for Snowdon because it requires a bit of scrambling. And there were moments when you had to like kind of lean forward and use your hands to get up
Yeah.
the mountain. And like we said, lots of different conditions, ice underfoot. It's not like you can just run at it, you've got to be really mindful of where your feet are being placed from a safety
Mm.
perspective. And I know what we wanted to share today on this episode is what the journey was about because and kind of
Yeah.
looking at this in terms of life because we have our goals, we have our ambitions and these things we want to achieve. And sometimes we can just have our head down and be blazing towards them. And then
Hmm.
we get there and we arrive and we have them and we acquire and then we're like, oh, is that it? And I'm not saying you get to the top of Snowdon and go, oh, is that it? Because you don't.
Hmm.
You get there and like,
Yeah.
whoa, what a feeling. But we didn't get right to the top, did we, yesterday?
No, unfortunately not. We didn't, did we? We got to a place, so I think it's about 1,000, just over 1,000 meters high, and we got to 900 meters, didn't we? And we just hit this point where it was basically scrambling up a frozen waterfall. That was kind of our option, best option, wasn't it?
Mm.
it would have required putting like poles down, everything in your bag, like literally on your hands and knees, scrambling up. And obviously the weather had turned, so visibility was really bad. The rain was coming in, and also it was starting. We knew that we didn't have much left of daylight, and we knew that obviously path that we had to get down. We wanted to get down before we hit real darkness. So we had to call it. And I won't lie, I was a little bit gutted because I was
Mm.
like, oh, we've come so
So close. We're
far,
so close.
so far. And I was like, oh, that just, I won't lie, my initial thing was like, oh man.
Mm.
But then Dave, incredible Dave Pickles, it isn't about getting to the top. It really isn't. And I think this was such a lesson yesterday. It's always about the journey, always. And the learnings from yesterday, the things that we saw, like the fears that we saw some of the ladies like face full on, like, you know, still we had scrambling moments before then of like going, you know, on the kind of shaly, like slaty bits, um, was just incredible. And I think each and every one of us overcame a lot yesterday. Um, and I think for me, not getting to the top was one of them.
Mm.
And it didn't matter. And I think I was probably, because I had done it before, I was expecting to do it again. And I was just gutted because I wanted everyone to get just to get there. But then it really just didn't matter. And I think that's been such a beautiful waking up moment today, because we had one incredible day. And we were saying just before logging on, weren't we, that the pace that we were going at almost allowed us to really take it in even more. So we experienced it every step of the way, rather than just having that one focus of getting to the top and being so tunnel visioned that you miss everything that's going on around you. Like, we connected with incredible people as we walked up there as well. And there was one guy, oh, I'll give him a shout out, Davy Boy G. Like, literally, this guy came and walked it on his own after just having heart surgery. And I watched his TikToks today and I was in tears because he had such emotion going up there. And I think we were really quite a nice support for him, you know, along the way. Um, and like, you'd miss that opportunity, you
Mm.
know, if you were so
Mm.
focused on going up. And we connected with people that weren't even in our group along the way, which was really lovely.
It was. And I think just reflect on what you've just said, like initially my reaction when Dave was like, as the expert with us,
Mm.
I'm calling it ladies, and I hope we're all okay with that. And we were all in agreement with that. And at first I was like, oh, I'm sure we could just give it a go.
Yeah.
Like, oh, are you sure we can't get there? But then I think this is the choice and the shift,
Yeah.
because it's going from looking at what you didn't do to going, look what I did do. And in a really literal sense yesterday, looking up and going, well, I didn't do 100 meters, but looking back down and
Yes.
going, what I bloody did 900, still got
Amazing.
to go back down 900.
Yeah.
So that's a shift in life, isn't it? Because we tend to look at all
Yeah.
the things we haven't achieved or haven't done, or we haven't got there yet.
Hmm.
But
And we
look
could have
how far
easily
we've
come
come.
away from that and go, well, we didn't summit it. Like,
Yeah, what a
but
disappointment.
what
But
we did
no.
do was experience a lot, like
Yeah.
a lot. We overcame a lot of fears, a lot of mind blocks together, and that was
Mm.
really, really special. And actually reflecting on it, I really smiled this morning when I thought that we'd almost like, and Dave so beautifully did this because he was like, we're just going to sit here for a minute and just really take this in. And we sat, didn't we, literally on the edge of a mountain. It was
We were
very steep in this
clinging
place.
on.
I think at first all of us were like, get us off this bit because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
feels dicey. But it was like, no, we're staying here for a minute. And I really smiled at that this morning because I was like, that was our summit
yeah,
yesterday. That was
yeah.
our summit, our very own one, not one where we have to stand in a queue and wait for a photo at the top.
No.
Like, that was our TAGC summit with that group of incredible ladies that day. And what a beautiful
Mm,
moment we shared. We all had our ginger shots. We all celebrated what we'd done, and we just sat there for a minute all together,
mm.
clinging on.
Yeah, literally clinging on. There was fear. And that just filled me just hearing you say that and just thinking, reliving that moment right now that happened yesterday. It just fills me with such emotion in such a good way. And like
Yeah,
that's what we did, and we did it for us. And it's not about competing with anybody else and seeing people
no,
that got to the top. It's us for ourselves.
yes,
And all of us individually overcame something yesterday to keep
yeah,
going and go through what we did. And yes, the pace may have been slower than we expected, but like you said, it wasn't heads down and a race to the top. It was giving ourselves moments to look up and go, just look around us and have those deeper conversations. And
yeah,
I know at one point we couldn't see anybody ahead of us because it was a really quiet path, not many people were around
yeah.
in January tackling this path. So we couldn't see or anybody in front. You couldn't see anybody behind us. And we just stopped and we went, let's just be quiet.
Mm,
And we paused and you could hear a pin drop,
yeah,
which when you think you're stood in that vastness and it was silence like you wouldn't
yeah.
believe. And
It's crazy.
that is a feeling. But yes, there was laughter, there was tears,
Yeah,
there was cheerleading, like incredible cheerleading to get each other through different parts,
yeah.
overcoming fears of darkness, overcoming fears of heights.
Mm-hmm. Overcoming fears of wild wheeze as well.
Wild wheeze, yeah, embracing the wild wee. And when I came back from my wild wee, I was like, just if you're going to go where I've just been, well, not literally where I've just been, like avoid that spot. But if you're going to come this side, just be mindful. Don't go more than 4 meters because it's just a sheer drop down into the valley.
Hmm.
Like literally, I looked over, I was like, that film you look and you go, oh my God, that is
Tummy
literally just
goes.
the edge. It's like back up, back up, back
Like,
up. I was like, just don't go running for your wild wee.
no.
Um, so just
Yeah.
so much we pushed through yesterday. And I think it's a personal achievement, isn't it? And I think that's why each and every one of us was there to prove to ourselves what we could do, prove to
Yeah.
ourselves that we can push through.
And this is the thing, it was never about the walk, it's about showing yourself what's possible.
Yeah.
And I think each and every one of us did that yesterday in our very own ways. And that's what's beautiful about
Mm,
it. Like, that's what's beautiful about doing something different and just pushing yourself out of the norm, out of your usual, what you do, and really just embracing something different.
yeah.
Because you really do show yourself what's possible. And I think you allow yourself for a moment just to really get out of your mind
Mm.
um,
Back
in
into your
moments.
heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
I know I lay in bed this morning because Dave did say it, it'll all land in the morning. You'll
Yeah.
wake up and you'll feel it in the morning, like well, feel it in your body, but also but he's like, it'll just come through in the morning. And it so did. And then the messages we've
Yeah,
all exchanged in the chat this morning was just, oh, it just fills your heart, doesn't it?
yeah.
And I just
And
lay
everyone's,
there.
oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say,
No,
I just lay there and the
okay.
pride within for
Mm,
myself and for us all was just phenomenal. And
yeah,
it's a massive credit into the confidence bank.
yeah,
It's lying there going, well, if I can do that, like what else can I do? What else?
yes.
And go back to
That's the feeling.
your mantra of I'm so excited to see what I'm capable of. And that's what
That,
it's about. It's not about getting
that
to the top.
No, not at all. Love that. It's literally about going like, what's next? And do you know what the best thing was is that's what like literally all of the messages this morning were like, can't wait for the next adventure.
Mm,
Can't wait to do it again.
mm,
Like it gives you that drive to go, right, what is next? What else can I do? What
mm.
else can I prove to myself? And I think the more that we almost prove to ourselves exactly what we can do, the freer we get. Like the
Yeah,
more that we can so easily step out of our mind. Because I know for me, obviously, I had so many mental blocks the last year when I did it.
yeah.
But it was really interesting this year because I just that it was like the learnings from last year. And I actually re-listened to the episode from when I'd done it last year. And all of those learnings carried with me this time. And I was like, it
Yeah.
was really like, I know I like obviously shared it with everyone that we're walking with. Like, all you've got to do is just put one foot in front of the other, and the
Mm,
momentum builds itself. Like, literally, that's all you've got to focus on. You don't focus on
yeah.
getting to the top, just focus on each step. And every step that you take, you're one step closer. Um, And just little pieces like that was really,
Mm,
really just kind of stuck with me from last year. And I don't know, that's growth, isn't it?
it is
So,
growth. There was
and
so
it's
much
really,
growth on that map. Sorry,
yeah,
there's so much growth on that mountain yesterday.
yeah. And it's this as well, going up in such a conscious way. And I
Mm,
think that made not getting to the top even more special because we just had that greater awareness of all that we had done. And I
yeah,
think coming down, it was like, wow, like, oh, that took us a long time to get down as well,
yes.
didn't it? So we were. And this was another thing that I think was really wonderful to see because I think there was a moment where there was quite a bit of fear when we were thinking about timings of coming down. So I think like there was a moment where everyone was kind of totting up the time and we're like, I don't think we should go any further because we're going to be coming down in the dark. Wonderful Dave again, like nothing to worry about. We can do
Yeah.
that. Like there's no worries at all. He's not worried about the dark. And I won't lie, I was a bit like, coming down like, some of that bit in the dark, I just it's a bit worrying, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because you're like, okay, I'm not going to be able to see where I'm going. Obviously, the path is not a straightforward path. It's very rocky. There's ice, like there's lots of
Mm,
different things. But it was really wonderful to come down and like obviously push us to keep going and get up there. But to come down and embrace that because that's
mm,
given me a vigor to go, well, I've walked some of this in the dark now. So actually, what I'd love to do next is go and see a sunrise at the top of a mountain. And I know that if I can come down the mountain, I feel like I could climb up one
mm,
in the dark, which really excites me because I'm like, I could actually get up there for sunrise. Like when
yeah.
I first did Snowdon last year, I was like, people were already up there when we were walking up in the sunrise. I was like, oh, I wonder what it looks like up there right now. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously similar, but just a different experience, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And again, that's you showing to yourself that you may have had a thought process that like the dark, I can't do that. But you've
Yeah,
proven to yourself that you can. So now you're like, well, I can do it in the dark. So I can therefore take that on
yeah,
and get up there for a sunrise. And when we start
definitely.
to do things like this, we're then more inclined to be like, well, what else can I try? These new things, they're less scary because you're like, well, I've done that, and just become
Yeah,
more open to just seeing what's possible and see what else you can explore.
definitely. Definitely. Oh,
So,
what an experience.
what
It
an
really,
experience
really was.
indeed. And
And guys, we're going to be doing many more. We are really excited. I think everyone who literally was there yesterday wants to do it again, which is super exciting. And then we've had an amazing amount of ladies who are like, literally book me on to the next one. So if
yeah,
you would like more information, we are going to be setting a date literally over the next 24 hours just so that we can secure that in and get another date to go up Snowdon. So what we'll do is pop in the show notes a place where you can join our mailing list, and then you will literally get first dibs as soon as those tickets are out. You will be able to grab one because they will be limited, obviously due to safety and numbers.
yeah,
Um, but we're excited, aren't we? Because I feel like this has started our year in such a wonderful way that we're like, we want to get this community, our TAGC community, and you are a part of that, guys. When you're listening to this, you really, really are just out into life,
yeah.
doing the things that have been on our want to do list for too
Mm,
long. Just go do it together and
that's it.
show ourselves what's possible.
Yeah. It's turning those I wish I coulds into I did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, love
One
that.
day I will, and here's my one day.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Oh, thank
amazing.
you so much
So,
for listening, guys. Yes. And yeah, we will speak to you very, very soon, won't
yeah,
we?
speak to you soon, guys. Lots of love.
Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.